Everyone who's played Pokemon knows well who the Elite Four are. The Elite Four are trainers that basically rank second after the Pokemon champion, and usually each member specializes in a specific type of Pokemon. Out of all the games, Pokemon Sword and Shield, which I finally got to play after so many years, are the only ones that don't have an Elite Four since they're replaced by the Champion Cup. Because of that, I like to think that some of you guys got the same question, being, what if there was an Elite Four in the Galar region? And I want to share that with you guys too by drawing my interpretation of them, making my own trainers and what type of Pokemon they'd be and have. Now the thing with the Galar trainers is, they used a majority of the 18 types in the game, and I had plans for Poison and Psychic types before, until I found out the Isle of Armor DLC was a thing and Clara and Avery existed. So having to annoyingly scratch those off my list, I decided to take that as a challenge and create my Elite Four based on the 7 types left. The first type I thought of was electric types. This is because, from what I know, there isn't a single member of any Elite Four from any of the games that uses electric types, and that sparked some ideas in mind. Yeah, that was a bad pun, I know. The next type I chose was steel types. I know it'd be like the 3rd or 4th time in a row that a steel type trainer would be in the Elite Four, but I just think steel types are cool. The 3rd type is bug types because I think they should be appreciated more, and they only had one Elite Four bug type trainer, so I wanted to add another. And lastly, we have normal types because, like with electric types, there isn't a trainer of the Elite Four that uses normal types. I know that in Scarlet and Violet, Larry uses normal types since he's the normal type gym leader, but in the Elite Four, he primarily uses flying types, and God save this man and give him a vacation. It honestly surprised me because he clearly looks like he just uses normal types, though I can't exactly judge because I once initially thought Hassel used fire types primarily because I thought he looked like Rengoku from Demon Slayer. I can't unsee that now. Anyways, with the types chosen, let's get to the designs. Now I know the gym leaders in Galar wear clothes that are heavily influenced by British sportswear, which makes sense since Galar is based on the UK, and how the Galar region focuses on Pokemon battles as a major sport. I wanted to try and implement those in all of the designs and started drafting them in my sketchbook. I didn't look at the designs they made for the game as much since I was just going in blind for the majority of it. And looking at the ones in the game, there's somewhere it's either a lot or not a lot. It was honestly hard to say the least since there's not much to do with them, but I think I did alright. So first up, my electric type trainer, I call her Sparkle, like Sparkle from Honkai Star Rail. I knew from the start I wanted to give her these asymmetric lightning bolt shaped twin tails. I mainly took inspiration based on electric type Niku from the Project Voltage collab. Honestly, am I the only one who actually likes this design? I don't think it should get a lot of hate as I've seen it online. Anyways, for her uniform, I made hers more similar to Marnie's and Nessa's, and another inspiration for her hair was based on Canary from Legends ZA. I want that game too, but I don't have the Switch to. As for her number, these parts were somehow the most difficult, even more so than designing the characters themselves. Because when looking it up, the thing with the numbers the characters have in their uniforms is that they use Goro Awase, a common form of Japanese wordplay, and the word would be used as a pun on the leader's name or what type they use. I tried my darndest, and the closest I can get 456, which is, assuming if I even did get it right at all, Shikara, which means power. Again, I am so sorry if I'm not doing this right. I already suck at English wordplay, even more so than Japanese. So forgive me if I mess this up. And to anyone who actually knows Japanese and is watching this, feel free to bonk me in the head with a squeaky hammer. I don't know how it works, I'm just here to tell you about my OCs. Now another thing to note was that aside from Pierce, almost every gym leader in the game has a Pokemon that is able to Gigantamax or Dynamax. And so I'm making her partner Pokemon be Toxtricity, the amp form. She calls it Toxie. I don't know why, I grew to love this Pokemon more than I thought I would. It's actually pretty cool, and I looked up to see that, yeah, it can Gigantamax. And the other members of her Pokemon team would be Bolton, Ampharos, Vikavolt, and Pom-Pom Oricorio, along with Heliolisk. As for her character, yeah, I made her a big social media girly. She'd be this popular influencer, really trendy and fashionable, and overall fun to be with girl. And I like to think that she and Raihan would get along well. Sparkle was originally an old idea for a Yume ship with him, but the more I thought about her character later on, the more I just ended up with them being besties. She's also the type where once you get to know her more, she'll definitely be like one of those parents who would constantly show you pictures of their kids, but with her Pokemon instead. Literally shoving her Rotom phone into everyone's faces, taking pictures of everything their Pokemon does, recording videos the second something happens, will immediately start yapping about them if you ask her. She just loves her little guys. Okay, hi, future me here. Now, before we get to the second trainer, I just want to say that prior to making these OCs, I didn't have Pokemon Sword or Shield at the time, so I didn't know a lot of the characters and had to do some research. And I am thumping my head against the wall. Because in the games, there's this company called Macrocosmos, and the staff there mainly uses steel types, which I thought was fine. And then you get the Chairman Rose who comes into the equation, and I found out that half his team was the exact same ones as my OCs, so I just went, Fa! So, as annoying as it was to do, I decided to change this character's Terra type, and luckily my backup was flying, which works well for me because only 2 characters use flying types in the Elite Four, so... Introducing my now flying type trainer, Pearl Grey. The name comes from the tea Earl Grey, and a lot of people think that her name is kind of plain compared to her appearance, but she doesn't really mind. Much like with Sparkle, her hairstyle was something I knew I wanted her to have. One thing I love about Pokemon is how much shape language their designs give, which makes very interesting silhouettes. And I wanted to try at least do that for all the designs. Grey's uniform is designed more like a dress, much like Opal, as well as making it akin to like a female tennis outfit. I have this design based off flying type Miku and a bit of Lycia from Auras. Designing her uniform logo had me stuck for like a few minutes, but I managed to settle on something. And as for her number, I went with 392, which means, again, in my assumption, sharp. At this point, I just want to jumble a bunch of numbers together, but I've already committed it a bit. Again, I am so sorry to anyone Japanese or who knows Japanese. I am a certified dummy. For her Pokemon team, a Pokemon I didn't change that can also Gigantamax is Corviknight, so I wanted to make that her ace. The rest of her Pokemon are Noivern, Swanna, Togekiss, Jumpluff, and Skarmory. I have 2 steel types in this team out of spite, and I am keeping them. Personality-wise, she'd easily be the opposite of Sparkle. She loves Pokemon as much as any trainer out there, but her stone-cold demeanor usually has people thinking otherwise. Just straight-up poker face. And sometimes that can scare both people and Pokemon off, but not her Pokemon though. They know she loves them, and they love her back regardless. Up next is the Bug-type trainer, Luna. At first, I wasn't really sure how to design her outfit-wise. However, I knew I wanted to give her this bug-like silhouette with her hair, but her outfit was really where I mostly struggled. I tried looking up other bug-type trainer OCs other people made to see what I could do, and in the end, I tried to design her this cape-like jacket based on bug-type Miku. The uniform itself had me stumped, and I saw what the in-game design looked like and hated it, so I came up with this instead. For Luna's team, I had it consist of Butterfree, which can Gigantamax, Vivilla, Scolipede, Orbital, Ribombee, and Volcarona. As for her number, it's 088, and before I could write what it meant for this script, it left my brain and I'm thumping my head against the wall again as I'm writing this. But anyways, here she is. Luna's mostly as serious as Grey when it comes to her duties as an Elite Four member, but she would turn a 180 when it comes to bug-type Pokemon. She's an avid bug lover and would unintentionally freak out any person with entomophobia. What can she say? She got the bug autism. And now we're down to our last member of this Elite Four. We have the normal type trainer, Theodore. For his design, I at first had only one sentence in mind while drawing him. Make him the opposite of Larry. That was literally the first thing I thought of. Honestly, as I was coming up with this draft page, I also came to understand the appeal of Larry, particularly how relatable he is. I saw someone made a joke about how he was a regular office worker that got isekai'd into Pokemon, and I just think that's funny. So when designing Theodore, I went the opposite route. Skinny, pretty boy of much fresh age, has tons of energy, and has brims with colors on him. Somewhat like normal type Miku, which, not gonna lie, I didn't know was normal type the first time I saw her, and I'm currently still trying to wrap my head around that. But I knew it suited his vibes perfectly. His design honestly was the easiest to come up with alongside Sparkle. I mostly made his uniform just black and white with a few splashes of color on the sleeves, and I wanted most of the color to be focused on his hair. And trying to figure out a logo for the normal type had me somewhat stumped, so I just tried to fuse the logo used in Bulbapedia. and the logo they used for the game. For his number, I went with 1094, which I could be wrong, but the intended word is Tokushu, which means special. Now onto this team, we have Eevee that can Gigantamax, female Indeedee, Beware, Sawsbuck, Autumn Form, Furfrou in the Kabuki trim, and male on Pheasant. I have this little headcanon that Theo would be from Unova. I thought it'd be funny if he'd be the American equivalent amongst the Brits that are the Galar characters. And I love that thought more than I thought I would. I thought of giving him a Braviary at first, but I felt that was too American. So yeah, that's all my hypothetical Galar Elite Four members. Which one do you guys like the most? I've really come to like Sparkle a lot, and they all live around my head, rent-free. This idea came on a whim when learning more about Sword and Shield, and it had been a fun one to have. I've been really Pokemon pilled lately, and that pretty much boosted the whim. But yeah, that's all for now. Feel free to tell me if you want to see more of my OCs, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!